Hi everyone, this is Jade. I just have these nicely printed up questions from a bunch of you who wrote to our website, and since I'm here visiting Denmark today, I'm going to take some time to answer some of your questions. So I'll start with the first one that was asked by Arthur Dent, DK. It says, I've heard that the maps in the game are made to look like how the cities are believed to have looked at the time in the story. Will these virtual reconstructions be used anywhere else, like on museums or for further historical analysis? That would be really cool. Actually, we did spend a lot of time working with historians who are experts in the Third Crusades, and we did get the original plans of Acre, Damascus, and Jerusalem from the time of the Third Crusades, and we based the layouts as much as possible on the exact cities. So it could be a good way to get to know the city, but they're not 100% historically accurate because in some cases we change the cities a little bit for gameplay reasons. For example, it's a lot more fun when you're escaping guards to have a lot of corners to turn around. So big avenues are not a good way to hide. So for example, in Damascus, there's a big avenue that passes through the city, and we did not include that in our version of the city. So it's probably not accurate enough for museums, but according to the historians we worked with, it is a good way to start to get a sense of what they looked like at that time, and definitely to recognize the major landmarks in each city. The question that I'm reading here is from Tosca92, and Tosca asks, will Altair meet enemies like bosses, not guards, who are after him and not the other way around? So the answer is yes. In fact, the guys that you have to assassinate are kind of like bosses. They each have their own specific setting. You have to attack them from a certain area. Some are coward. They have their own specific traits. Some can do certain moves. But unless, well, and if they're courageous and they catch you sneaking into their place, they will attack you, actually. If they're scared, they'll run away, but you will have a situation where if they're courageous, they're going to run after you. And if you're not doing so well in a fight, you could end up running away. That might be a good strategy. They're also hidden in the maps Templars, and Templars will attack you on sight. They're wearing a white cross, like chainmail, and like this kind of bib with a white cross, and they're also wearing a big helmet that looks like kind of like an upside down bucket or something, but that's the way they looked in those days. And they'll swing around corners and attack you, and they actually can be a big surprise because sometimes I'll be in a map, you know, trying to do a pickpocket or something, and then there's a Templar around the corner that will charge out of nowhere, and they're actually quite difficult to fight, but there is an achievement related to getting rid of all the Templars. On to the next question. This one comes from Sacred92, and the question is, what happens when you've completed the main missions, assassinating the 9 key guys? Do you have to start over, load and save, then continue to free run, or is the world open to continue to do the free running and side quests after you've done those missions? That's an excellent question. Basically, there's a lot of different things you can do after you've finished the game. You can choose to reload any of the memory blocks. That's to relive the experience in those sections. And anytime you want, you can go back to the cities, and you can also mix up how you do the objectives. You never have to linearly complete your investigation and then straight do the assassination. You can always do a couple investigations, you can stop, you can get back on your horse, you can ride through the kingdom, you can go to another city, do a few investigations there. So throughout the game there's a lot of flexibility in what you're doing, whether you're free running or whatever you feel like doing, you can do that instead of your current objective. And then of course at the end of the game you can reload any of the missions, any of the areas that you feel like replaying. Okay, so next question is by iqn.dk, and the question is, I just found out that one of the Xbox 360 achievements are go through every dialogue with Lucy. Who is Lucy? So I don't want to say too much about this because Lucy is related to part of the stuff we want to keep a surprise, but Lucy is played by a pretty well-known actress in the States called Kristen Bell, and she's going to be on Heroes this season, and she's also on has been in many other popular shows before, and she plays the Lucy character. Now I have a last question by Eric Gromstad, and Eric asks, First of all, Assassin's Creed looks great and I can hardly wait. That's cool, thank you. Then it says, today's games become more and more about telling a story, and with a story follows depth, perspective, imagination, ethics, and several other issues. How important was it to get Assassin's Creed, besides the storyline, fun to play but also historically correct as possible, and do you think that this is often forgotten in other games? Thanks for your time. So that is actually a very interesting question. I think, first and foremost, a game has to be fun because we all buy it for that purpose and it has to be entertaining. But I think also that a lot of gamers are looking for more than just the adrenaline and the action, and they want to have a deep story, and they want to maybe have something to discuss afterwards. We were inspired by the historical events and the history of the assassins. The events around the Third Crusade are very interesting, and so we did build in a lot of that accuracy. We worked with historians to try and give gamers who are interested in exploring a little bit more and finding out about the history and maybe just asking some questions about it. There's a lot of depth in there for you too, so hopefully you enjoy it.